Let me start with something I hear all the time from Colombians. I've been here 16 years, and I've heard I want to invest in property in Florida, but I'm not a US citizen, so that's impossible then. That belief, something you think is true, that belief is one of the biggest myths, biggest false ideas in international property investing. The truth is, you do not need to be a US citizen to buy property in Florida. And yes, Colombians can do it legally, safely, and efficiently. The real problem for Colombians, this is the real issue. An issue is a problem or a difficulty. Most Colombians here don't know how to start. They feel lost, they feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means feeling confused and stressed because something feels too complicated. That's totally normal, common, expected. When you start reading about investing in the US, by the way, before I retrained as a teacher 20 years ago now, I was a financial advisor specializing in property, commercial property. When you start reading about investing in the US, suddenly you see words like LLC, EIN, operating agreements, US bank accounts, mortgages as a foreign national. And it's natural to think this is too complicated. This is too complicated for me to get into. To get into something means to start doing it or becoming involved in it. For instance, the first step in investing in US property is to create what's called a US LLC. That's an investment company. An LLC, limited liability company, is a type of company used to own property and run businesses in the US. Limited liability just means your personal money is protected if something goes wrong. The best way to think of this is the LLC becomes the legal owner of the property, not you personally. The legal owner is the person or the company that officially owns something in the eyes of the law. This is very, very common in the US. Extremely common, meaning very normal and widely used. It's normal, it's professional, and it's smart. Smart just means intelligent, strategic. There are three big reasons why Colombians need to use an LLC for buying property in the US. Number one is probably asset protection. An asset is just something valuable you own, like property or money or investments. When you buy through an LLC, your personal assets are protected, safe from danger or loss, protected. That means if there's a problem with tenants, a financial issue maybe, a lawsuit, they usually can't go after, meaning they can't legally take your personal money or your property in the US or in Colombia. Tenants, by the way, are people who rent a property. And when we talk about a financial issue, we just mean a money problem. So this protection is called a legal shield. A shield is something that protects you from danger. The number two reason for using an LLC is privacy, keeping your personal information hidden away from the public. Instead of your personal name appearing on US public records, the LLC's name appears. Obviously, you own the LLC. Public records are official documents that anyone can look up, that anyone can examine, look up. This protects your identity, your personal information, and for many investors, Colombian investors too, privacy is a huge advantage, a benefit, something that helps, an advantage. Number three, possible tax advantages. In some situations, using an LLC can reduce taxes, simplify accounting, make reporting income easier. When we say reduce, we mean to make something smaller. To simplify is to make something easier to understand. Accounting, the process of tracking money, and reporting income means telling the government how much money you earned. You need professional advice for this, of course, but that comes from an accountant or a lawyer during the property purchase process. You need something called an EIN, and this is your company's, your LLC's ID number. So you create the LLC and you need this EIN, Employer Identification Number. Think of it like a US tax ID for your company. It's just an official number used for tax purposes. And this is used to open your US bank account, file taxes, apply for mortgages, sign legal contracts. When we say file taxes, we mean to send tax forms to the government. To apply for, this means to formally ask for something. Now, if you work alone, getting an EIN can take weeks or even months. Without help, this can take weeks or months. This is where many Colombians get stuck. To get stuck means to be unable to continue or move forward. Lots of Colombians get stuck at this point. But there are companies now that do this for you, as well as arrange the loan, etc., etc. So this process feels hard if you do this alone. If you fill out the US government forms yourself, trying to understand legal English, waiting for approvals, sending documents internationally, and usually people make mistakes that delay everything. An approval is just official permission, by the way. To delay means to make things longer. Delays in real estate can kill a deal. That means they can destroy a good investment opportunity. A deal is just a business agreement. So your LLC, once this is set up, and setting this up can take 20 minutes, by the way. The LLC also needs an operating agreement. This is a legal document that explains who owns the company, how decisions are made, how profits are distributed, and what happens if something goes wrong. It's a legal document, an official piece of paper with legal power. Even if you're the only owner, this document is still important. It makes your company look legitimate, legal and real, professional, and bank ready. This is important. Bank ready means prepared to work with banks. So you open a US bank account, which is often a huge obstacle for Colombians. An obstacle is something that blocks your progress. You need a US bank account to receive rent from the property, to pay expenses, pay the mortgage, and send money to and from Colombia. You need a US bank account. Rent is the money paid by tenants. Expenses are costs, and the mortgage is the loan to buy the property. So when you open the bank account, you need it to be FDIC insured. When you have an FDIC insured account, this means the US government protects your money in case the bank fails. To fail means to stop working. So Colombians can get US mortgages. This surprises people here. But there are companies now that specialize in all of this, and as I say, setting up the LLC takes 20 minutes. And these companies specialize in loans that take the rental income from the property into account rather than your own personal income. So as I say, this is a surprise to a lot of people. These lenders offer DSCR loans. A DSCR loan is a debt service coverage ratio loan. Sounds complicated, but it's just a bank or a company that gives loans in the form of a loan that's based on the property's rental income, not your salary, not your passport, not your job in Colombia. They do the calculation, and if the rent covers the mortgage payment, the deal can be approved. To cover something means to be enough to pay for it. So that's the critical part. If the rent from the property covers the mortgage payment, the loan is issued. It's the rental income they're interested in. So a few extra important points here. It's often recommended to create one LLC per property. When we say recommended, it means it's suggested as a good idea. So if one property has legal or financial problems, it doesn't affect the other investments. To affect something means to change or damage it. You can invest with partners. You can own an LLC with a friend, a family member, business partners. Everything is written in the operating agreement, clearly. That means in a way that's easy to understand. Florida is one of the most popular US states for Colombian investors. There are developments right now in the center of Florida where 54% of the buyers are Colombian. So these are popular investments for Colombians because of a number of reasons. Strong rental demand, tourism, there's a Latin culture there, Spanish-speaking communities. Obviously, the paperwork is in English. The legal system is English. Direct flights from Colombia and a familiar lifestyle. When we talk about demand, we mean how many people want something. So it feels close to home for Colombians. As a final message, let me say this clearly. If you are Colombian and you want to invest in Florida, as an example, you can legally buy property. You don't need US citizenship. You use an LLC, which gives you the US bank account. You get the mortgage and you build wealth in dollars. To build wealth just means to increase your money and assets over time. And that's everything for this episode. This is how Colombians invest in US real estate, step by step. Thank you for listening. This is Listen, Learn Property, Learn English. See you in the next episode. Until then, bye-bye for now.